Available. Don't tell me it's not. It is. Okay. Sorry, I'm just talking to my computer. Hi, my name's Michael John Weber. Um, and I have been telling you my theory on how to avoid writer's block and finish your friggin' novel. Um, that's not what I'm going to do today, but just something I noticed, a little hint that when you do finally finish your novel, there's two things you should do to sort of add to it, and I'll try to make it quick, but I'm not known for my brevity. So what you're looking at here is the last novel I managed to complete, called Wander Alone, and here's the list of the novels. Yes, I'm bragging. Go read it. You know you want. It's free. You don't even have to pay. Just read it. But you can see here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Wow, I'm on 8 of them now. Yeah, I'm working on New Hell right now. I'm like about 100 pages in, so we'll have to see. Okay, but my point really, aside from the bragging, is there's two things you're going to do when you finish your novel. You're going to get front-end material and back-end material. And no, that's not sexual. Get your head out of the gutter. So this, what you're looking at, is front-end material. Sure, you call it a title page, but this is what the front end is. Here's your titles and your copyright crap and your license edition notes, and then here's the list of the series or your other works that you've been doing. People want to know, right? I got a warning here because I tend to do some R-rated shit, even though I don't consider myself a writer of erotica. It just shows up. These are people and they have lives, and I'm trying to play on certain cliches. Yeah, so goodness, it's almost embarrassing to have this on the screen, but anyways, we'll just skip through. And here you go, a bit of a dedication and some other disclaimers. That's your front end, and it's really not that exciting, but it needs to be there. But then the most important here, yeah, we go to page 272. After you write the word fin, or the end, or that's all, folks, and the story is done, then you got this shit at the back. Now, it's not that you have to write it, it's that audiences really seem to appreciate it. I've been getting comments and compliments, I suppose, on the back end material of this project. This is usually how I roll for each of the books. You can come up with your own version of it, I would hope. But I do all, thank you for reading this book. I hope you enjoyed spending time with these characters. Here's the project as it continues, so there's more to read. And then what I started doing in the very first book, in How to Make Friends with a Shy God, I put in the back a list of TV shows, movies, and Japanese animated shows that helped inspire this project. Because quite frankly, as a storyteller, I think we, if you want to be a good storyteller, you have to expose yourself to as many other stories as you can. So that means you're going to be watching a lot of movies, a lot of TV shows, reading a lot of books, and these ideas are basically going to creep their way in one way, shape, or form into your own work. They're going to inform it in some way, and not just the style or the subject matter, but also, I guess, the technical act of storytelling, if that makes sense. But anyways, back to this. So here's what I do. I put in, right, as you can see, a few more sources of inspiration for the Shy God project. And then I list them out. Here's the anime I watched just to fucking get me going. Here are the books that I've been reading to get me going. Here's the movies that I was watching to help inspire whatever this book was. Here's the TV shows. Wheel of Time. After 30 years, I started reading Wheel of Time back in the early 90s, and they finally have decided to put it on a screen of some kind. I'm not saying you'll love it, but dang, man, that was a really good series, and super long, though, like ridiculously long. Video games, a lot of video games. And again, this particular project is largely inspired by Japanese animated cartoons, we'll call them anime. There's only one on the list because COVID. But there's a lot of great anime out there that's not disgusting and perverted and weird, but really, really good. And then, of course, video games. There's all kinds of video games out there that you can then gain inspiration from. And so then I say thank you and blah, 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 and here's how you can send me fan mail or hate mail. And then I go on to more back-end material. And again, people love this. I'm a word nerd, and I'm not ashamed of the word nerd. because because I think nerd is a positive thing. But I love language. I love words. I love finding out where words come from. I love other languages other than English because, quite frankly, English is crazy. But and I rely on a lot of Greek, Latin, Japanese, French words, a bit of German here or there, a bit of Old Welsh, or even just archaic uses of modern day words. I love them all, so I try to put in this little mini dictionary at the end, and I've gotten compliments of it. Especially if you're making like a fantasy novel or fantasy world wherein you're inventing and creating a lot of words for magic powers or items or people or places. It's if you go too hard and heavy, I noticed that's what I did in my very 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 first novel ever. I went too hard in inventing a language basically, and I find that people think that that's really annoying. But if you are making up fantasy words or even super sci-fi words, it's nice for the reader to have a little dictionary in the back just to clarify what the hell you're talking about, or indeed what your line of thinking was when you were writing this. So here you can see just simple words. Coquette or coquette is a French word for prostitute. Dozo, Japanese for please or if you please. And shisa is a word I invented to imagine to be another word for angel. Hajimemashite is Japanese. Hirsute, I love this one. Of a person having long, thick, or untrimmed hair. Hirsute. I love that. I don't know why. And so anyways, here's my little dictionary. And again, people, here, Mare Nostrum is Latin for RC, which is another name for the Mediterranean Sea, which Mediterranean translates to the Middle Earth Sea, and you can sort of see why. And so on and so on. Ulican's a Canadian word mostly for the candle fish, so I explained that, and so on and so on. Uh, and again, for some reason, people seem to appreciate this. As long as you're not too heavy with, like you see, that's what, 2 pages, page and a half. As long as you don't get too word nerdy about it, people seem to enjoy it. And then here I get into just side note. I happen to mention in the prelude of this work, a character talks about the ideas of chakras. And sure, nowadays everybody's a new age awesome, but we might not know exactly where chakras are. And also, just in my own babblings, I noticed I come across the idea that the planet Earth itself has its chakras. And so herein do I list where on Earth each of the chakras are. For example, the sacral chakra is in Brazil, solar plexus chakra is in the United States of America, the heart chakra is in Spain, and I don't know if it's true or not. I just come across the idea, thought it was super neat, and so I thought I'd put it in my own work and then just give a little blurb in the back to help explain to people. This book also includes a concept of a wandering island, which is a legend I've heard. Whether or not it's true or not, I don't know. Literally about an island that wandered from a sunken continent in the South Pacific. It wandered all the way up the coast of South America and then past the United States to Canada and then flipped itself around to face the way it came and then jammed itself into the coast. And nowadays we call it Vancouver Island. And I don't know why that story exists, but I stumbled upon it one day and I was like, that's awesome. I gotta put that in somehow. And so I did. And then I just I blurb about it for a minute and then I leave it be. And then I got onto this a few books ago wherein I give character bios for all the primary and main characters in the story. As you can see, I give their names, their nicknames, what their hair and eye color is, their measurements and shoe size, their relationship statuses, how I've given what their favorite foods and flowers are, and then I even go so far as to say what their character inspiration was, where I got the idea from the character, or what other characters in TV, movies, etc. inspired them. So in this case, what is this? This is Liesel, the Swordman of Hope, and she was inspired by the Greco-Roman legend of Pandora, but also the character Cher from the movie Clueless. If you remember, I was Alicia Silverstone. And then Lieutenant Nancy Griffin from the show MASH. And if you don't know who that is, oh well, but those are the characters that I sort of see in my head when I write about Liesel. And then I give a little bit of a history and bio, explain a little bit about her past, what her personality's like, what she likes to do, tra-la-la. And some of them are long, like this one, because Liesel's a pretty complicated character as far as I'm concerned. Other ones are short. Here's another Mifanwe. We call her Wee One or Anwi. She's a fairy apparently that's older than the universe, and and then we just give a little babble about her, and it's stuff that hasn't really been revealed through this course of the actual story, or otherwisely stuff that supports it. And then I go on. The first time I did this, I only put one character, but it seems I put three in this one. Here's Kinloch, and what he does and what he's all about. And there you go. That's the end. Um, because this was the last book I wrote, usually what I do is after this character bio crap in the back end, I put a sneak peek of the next novel in the line. So I'll take the first chapter or the prelude of the next novel, and I'll jam it in the back of this one and call it a sneak peek, and that just sort of baits the hook and hopefully keeps people wanting to read forward in the series. So anyways, none of this is probably going to help you avoid writer's block, and probably not going to help you finish your novel, but when you're done your novel, you're going to want, it's a good idea, it seems, to slap a bit of this shit in the back. Like if you got maps drawn for your crazy cool world, or you got stuff like that, this is where you would drop that. And again, people really seem to appreciate it, almost as much as the story they just read. Largely because it's information that supports what they just read and gives them new insight, not only into the story, but into your mind as a writer and where you get your ideas or how you see ideas, and again, the things that inspired your ideas in your own story. So, after 11 minutes and a half of me babbling and bragging, I suppose, that's the end of this video. And it comes to an abrupt and screeching halt at the end. Okay, yeah, I hope that made sense to you and that you give it a shot yourself if you haven't already. Because, yeah, people seem to like it. We're nerd fun! Look at that. Anyways, 12 minutes, bye.